Joining me is Sean Spicer, Donald Trump's first White House spokesman. Sean Spicer, great to see you again. Look, a French judge banning France's most popular candidate for president, someone of the right, for standing in the next election. This is exactly the attack on freedom and democracy that J.D. Vance has been attacking Europe over. Where's this going to go?
Well, not only that, but when Vice President Vance went and made those comments, he was mocked for kind of going that far, if you will, also sort of talking down to the folks in Europe. And that was specifically a speech conversation at the time. And now look at what's happening. Banning candidates from being on the ballot. There's nothing more undemocratic than that, allowing people to not have a choice who to have represent them. But this, you know, it's funny. It's just amazing how many times in the past, the U.S. was just allowing stuff like this to go unchecked, unnoticed. And as much as sometimes people may not be used to the rhetoric that President Trump and Vice President Vance are using, it really is warranted. When you scratch beneath the surface, you realize that they're speaking a real solid truth to these issues that just more than anything, people have been afraid to say.
Oh, absolutely. And I noticed also a statement put out by the State Department about Britain attacking or taking to court a woman who was standing outside an abortion clinic with a sign simply saying, you know, talk to me, saying this is an issue and could have implications on trade. I mean, the reason I raised this one, Sean, is that we have in Australia Billboard Chris, the Canadian activist against transgender treatments for children, in court in Melbourne, along with Elon Musk's ex, trying to take the e-safety commissioner to force her to drop a ban on a post that he put up about this. I mean, the White House doesn't look kindly at this kind of stuff, does it?
No, but it's not just the White House, Andrew. I don't think any of us should look kindly on this. One of the things that I remind my conservative friends is that part of free speech here in America is allowing that which you detest. So, for example, as someone who has served in the military for over 2 decades, I find flag burning just grotesque. But I also believe that the amendment, our First Amendment, gives people the right to say the most heinous and despicable things. And that we, if we truly believe in freedom here in America, have to defend that which we detest. The idea that you're shutting down the speech in the UK and throughout Europe just shows that despite the ability to want to protest J.D. Vance's comments a couple months ago, the reality is very starkly different. They do stifle free speech, free thought. The idea that somebody merely can't have a conversation without being arrested or detained or fined speaks volumes as to what's really going on. And I think it's good for America, for all of the talk about America's retreat. The reality is America will always and should always stand for and defend freedom around the world.
Well, I think this is a real issue, and I agree with you. I mean, I've interviewed Billboard Chris. I think it's appalling what was done to him, but I also think it could have consequences for trade policies. Now, the White House has issued a long list of grievances against our trade policies towards America, including bans on uncooked beef from your country, for instance, and other imports. Ahead of Wednesday, your time, when Donald Trump's going to announce a whole list of extra tariffs he's going to impose on imports from around the world. He hasn't added our attacks on free speech yet, but I suspect that might be on the agenda soon. But what are you expecting on what is called, I think it's calling it Freedom Day?
Liberation Day. But there's I talked to some folks over the last 72 hours, and one of the best quotes that I got from somebody was, it's clearly unclear. What we do know is that Donald Trump has been talking about the use of tariffs for a long, long time, going back into the 1980s in Japan and how it treated the United States. The bottom line is this. I will expect a list of countries, major trading partners, where we have a trade tariff imbalance, meaning if you charge us 10% for our cars to go into your country, we're going to charge you 10 to come into ours. The funny thing about this, Andrew, is for everyone who gets all, I'll just be kind and say all upset and in a tither about this. The reality is I don't understand how you can talk about fairness when one country charges X and prohibits the other country from getting into its market and expects unfettered access into the United States. To me, that is inherently unfair trade. What Donald Trump is asking for is simply, if your tariff is 10 on X product or industry, whether it's agriculture, services, manufacturing, then we're going to charge you 10. But if you want to take your 10 down to 2 or to 0, we'll take ours down to 10 or 2. That, to me, makes a ton of sense. It's literally, when he says the word reciprocal, that's the very nature of it. Let's have an even playing field. You get access to our market, we get access to your market. Easy peasy. There's nothing wrong with that. And as a byproduct of that, by the way, President Trump has brought in hundreds of billions of dollars of investment. Taiwan Semiconductor, Honda, Hyundai, Apple, Samsung, all bringing manufacturing and investment back to the United States because they would rather do business here and have more certainty here. That's what we need finally in this country. When President Trump says America first, it means that we're going to start looking out for our workers, our farmers, our ranchers, our service providers, our manufacturers.
I'm shocked that people are shocked that that would be the case, that an American president would put America first. But there you go. Would that our leaders put Australia first always? Sean Spicer, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
You bet, Andrew. Thank you.